June 1944, a road outside Bayeux, Normandy, northern France. Something enormous is moving through the dust. It is not a tank. It is wider than a tank, longer than 3 staff cars placed end to end, and it is dragging the carcass of a 33-ton Sherman behind it on a flatbed trailer the size of a tennis court. The machine itself weighs 42 tons before anything is loaded onto it. Its engine sounds like a building on fire. Drivers of following vehicles report that its chain drive throws a continuous mist of oil across every road surface it touches. When it brakes, the noise is enormous. When it accelerates, flames have been known to erupt from its exhaust stacks. It looks excessive. It looks like something built for a war 10 times larger than the one actually being fought. It would go on to haul tanks across France, Belgium, Holland, and Germany. It would operate in Korea. It would spend years dragging Saturn rocket stages through a vehicle assembly building in Florida, helping the American space program reach the moon. It would remain in service with foreign armies into the 1970s, long after the war that built it was history. Its name was the M25 Dragon Wagon, and it was the most powerful tank transporter ever to roll on a Second World War battlefield. To understand why the Dragon Wagon existed, you need to understand the problem every Allied army faced the moment it tried to move armour across Europe at speed. By 1943, Allied tanks were not simply moving to battle under their own power, they were being consumed by the act of moving. A Sherman driving 100 miles under its own tracks burned through significant mechanical life, wore its suspension, drained its fuel, and arrived in a degraded state. Tanks broke down constantly. They threw tracks. They bogged in soft ground. They were knocked out by anti-tank fire, mines and Panzerfausts, left sitting in fields and ditches, and had to be recovered, repaired, and returned to their crews before the next engagement. Without a vehicle capable of carrying a tank overland at road speed and dragging disabled wrecks from wherever combat had put them, Allied armoured divisions would have bled out not from German shells but from simple mechanical attrition. Britain had already developed a partial answer in the Diamond T, a 6x4 American truck received under Lend-Lease that could haul a Sherman on a Rogers trailer. It was capable, economical, and reliable. 9 companies of the Royal Army Service Corps operated Diamond T transporters across 21st Army Group by October 1944, but the Diamond T had one rear winch rated at 18 tons. Its trailer rolled on 24 small wheels poorly suited to soft ground, and when the new generation of heavier tanks arrived, the M26 Pershing at 46 tons, the Churchill at 40, the Dragon Wagon was needed. Pacific Car and Foundry Company of Renton, Washington, a manufacturer of railway equipment and logging machinery, built the Dragon Wagon from a prototype conceived by the Nucky Truck Company of San Francisco. Nucky built custom machines for open-cast mining operations. Their engineers understood what it meant to drag 50-ton objects across terrain that had no intention of cooperating. The United States Army gave them a specification, evaluated their prototype at Aberdeen Proving Ground in 1943, and handed the production contract to Pacific, whose factory could deliver numbers Nucky could not. From early 1943 to August 1945, Pacific built approximately 1,372 machines. 753 were the armoured M26 variant, with a welded steel cab capable of deflecting 20mm rounds at distance. 629 were the unarmoured M26A1, a later production simplification, after field experience demonstrated that recovery operations rarely occurred under direct enemy fire, and that the armoured cab added 6,000 pounds of deadweight the system did not need. The tractor itself was built around the Hall Scott Model 440 engine, a 6-cylinder gasoline unit displacing 1,090 cubic inches, producing 240 horsepower at 2,000 revolutions per minute. It ran on 120 United States gallons of fuel, and returned approximately 1 to 2 miles per gallon. The Dragon Wagon was a logistics vehicle that itself demanded enormous logistics to sustain. 12 forward speeds and 3 reverse gave it a crawl capability of 1.5 miles per hour in first low, and a governed top speed of 26 miles per hour that crews routinely removed the governors to exceed. What defined it, however, were its winches. 2 rear Garwood winches, each rated at 60,000 pounds on the first cable layer, gave the Dragon Wagon a combined rear pulling force of 120,000 pounds, 60 tons, enough to drag almost any vehicle ever built out of almost any obstacle. A front winch provided 35,000 pounds for self-recovery. The M15 trailer, built by the Fruhoff Trailer Company of Detroit, rode on 8 large wheels across 2 rear axles and could carry 40 tons in its original configuration, rising to 45 tons on the wartime M15A1 variant. Combined, the full M25 system weighed up to 74.5 tons fully loaded, and stretched 64 feet from the front of the tractor cab to the rear of the trailer ramps. That length was its problem in Normandy. The sunken lanes of the bocage country were not built for machines 12 feet wide and 64 feet long. Royal Army Service Corps and United States Army transporter crews picked their way through hedgerows and rubble, crumbling walls as they went, watching their turning circles of 80 feet force them into three-point turns on roads barely wide enough for 2 jeeps. Bridge weight was a constant crisis. A loaded Dragon Wagon at 74 tons exceeded the classified capacity of most European bridges. Every route had to be reconnoitred in advance. Drivers followed prescribed crossings and prayed the intelligence was correct. During Operation Bluecoat near Bocage in August 1944, Dragon Wagons were photographed operating under enemy artillery fire. Their crews were not combat soldiers. They were mechanics, drivers, and recovery specialists who happened to be working a few hundred yards from men trying to kill them. The naming of the vehicle was not formal. It emerged from the crews themselves. The Hall-Scott 440 had a habit of firing unburnt fuel through its exhaust under hard acceleration. The stacks would belch visible flame. The drivers sitting inside the armoured cab, surrounded by engine noise and exhaust heat, said they felt like they were riding a dragon. The name became universal almost immediately. Now, before we get into the full combat record and the extraordinary second life of this machine, if you are watching this channel and finding value in these deep dives into Allied military hardware, please subscribe. It takes a moment and it helps this channel continue producing content at this level. The Dragon Wagon's strategic value was not measured in enemy tanks it destroyed, it was measured in Allied tanks it saved. On the Western Front from June 1944 to May 1945, 4,477 British Commonwealth tanks were total write-offs, permanently destroyed. But more than half of all Allied tank casualties across the campaign were repairable, damaged but recoverable, knocked out but not gone. During Operation Goodwood alone in July 1944, 361 tanks were put out of action. Roughly 60% of them were recovered and eventually returned to service. That recovery rate did not happen by accident. It was the product of a precisely organised chain of men, machines and doctrine, at the front of which sat the armoured recovery vehicle pulling wrecks from the mud, and further back sat the transporter, carrying them away. The Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers organised British recovery in layers. Light aid detachments of 14 to 25 men worked directly behind fighting formations, operating armoured recovery vehicles, reaching disabled tanks under fire, and getting them out of the immediate combat zone. Brigade workshops then took the vehicles and carried out heavier repairs. Corps and Army workshops handled the most damaged machines. At every stage, the critical link was moving a damaged tank from where it fell to where it could be fixed, quickly enough that it could return to its regiment before the regiment moved on without it. Field Marshal Montgomery told REME that they would keep the punch in the Army's fist. He understood the arithmetic. Britain by 1944 could not manufacture replacement tanks as fast as it could repair damaged ones. A Sherman cost the equivalent of $64,000 in 1944 values. Recovering and repairing it was a fraction of that cost. Every tank that returned to the line was a tank that did not have to cross the Atlantic. The German army, by contrast, was losing both the battlefield and the recovery infrastructure simultaneously. An advancing army recovers its knocked-out tanks. A retreating army abandons them. German recovery capability collapsed from late 1944 onward as they lost territory, fuel, and spare parts. Many German tanks in the final months were destroyed by their own crews, simply because there was nothing to tow them and nowhere to take them. The Allies did not face that problem. On paper, the Dragon Wagon appeared unnecessary for British operations. The Diamond T handled most requirements, but when a Churchill weighing 40 tons sat axle deep in a Belgian field, and 2 Diamond T winches could not shift it, the Dragon Wagon could. When a captured Tiger, 57 tons of German steel, needed hauling rearward for intelligence examination and engineering analysis, the Diamond T could not manage it and the Dragon Wagon could. When the new M26 Pershing arrived in theatre in early 1945, only the Dragon Wagon could move it without overloading the trailer. The two systems were not rivals. They were a system. The Diamond T handled routine road movement. The Dragon Wagon handled everything else. One Dragon Wagon driver, whose account was preserved decades after the war, described arriving at a Sherman that had sunk up to its turret in bog ground. 3 other tanks had been connected to it and failed to move it. He said the crews laughed when they saw the Dragon Wagon arrive. He said the winches had it out in minutes. After the war, the machine refused to retire. Dragon Wagons served in Korea hauling M26 Pershings and M46 Pattons across the peninsula. Foreign operators included Japan, France, Belgium, Austria, Turkey, Spain, Taiwan, and Yugoslavia. Canada procured a small number to move Centurion tanks. The United States Army replaced the Dragon Wagon officially with the Mack M123 system beginning in 1955, but examples lingered into the 1960s. The most extraordinary post-war service belonged to a different kind of payload, surplus M26. A-1 tractors were pressed into service at Kennedy Space Center in Florida, where they moved Saturn V rocket first stages through the vehicle assembly building during the Apollo program. Photographs from Apollo 8 preparations in 1968 show an M26A1 inside the building, positioning components that would eventually carry men to the moon. The machine built to drag Shermans out of Norman ditches was now handling the heaviest components of the most complex engineering project in human history. In Britain, the heavy haulage firm Winds purchased approximately 10 Dragon Wagons from a surplus field after the war. Most of the remaining machines were scrapped. Hull-Scott 440 engines were removed and shipped to Africa, where they were installed as marine power plants. The trailers outlasted the tractors, upgraded to the M15 250-ton variant, serving through Vietnam into the 1970s. Complete surviving examples are rare today. A fully restored M26 with M1501 trailer is displayed at the Museum of American Armour in Old Bethpage, New York. The Orlogs Museum in Overloon, Netherlands holds a complete combination. The National Museum of Military Vehicles in Dubois, Wyoming holds at least 2 tractor units. Privately, the Milweb Military Vehicle Network estimates perhaps half a dozen running examples exist worldwide. Return to that Normandy road in June 1944. The Dragon Wagon rolls on. It has no gun. It has no armour worth speaking of on the later unarmoured version. It is not fast. It consumes fuel at a rate that embarrasses logistics officers. Its oil trail fouls the road behind it for half a mile. Its turning circle is the same as a small airfield. At 74 tons loaded, it is too heavy for half the bridges it needs to cross. And yet it went everywhere. It crossed France, Belgium, Holland, Germany. It worked at night under mortar fire. It pulled machines out of bogs, craters, and flooded ditches that nothing else could reach. It carried every tank in the Allied inventory, and several in the German one. It did not stop when the war ended. It went to Korea. It went to the moon. The Dragon Wagon never fired a shot in anger. It did not need to. Every tank it saved fired the shots for it. That is not a support role. That is how wars are won